On this recording, we're going to cover why I was feeling so tired at work in a dense environment.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this in a previous recording that you had been feeling so tired all the time. And toward the end of that particular recording, I don't remember which one it was, but I kind of mentioned that you go out of body in your work environment to try to allow yourself to be present and still be operating in that environment. And that was something that came up again today for you.
Yeah, I actually think I released that.
Yeah,
I released something. I don't really know what I released, but it was definitely a release. And then I found myself, I wasn't actually tired today. And in fact, I found myself, I had this weird experience where, I was working with someone who said he was illiterate, and he was arguing about his check with me, and it was so funny because I just started noticing my thoughts. And, this is a person I've worked with before, and I've been all sorts of compassionate with this person in the past. But today I just kind of, I felt so, detached. It just seemed ridiculous. And I, felt my body, getting annoyed, and I started observing my thoughts. And it was kind of why am I here? Why am I even talking about this with this person? Is this seriously what I'm doing right now? Am I seriously arguing about a paycheck with someone who says he doesn't even understand the basics of how to calculate stuff?
So when you observe those thoughts, you realized you were not those thoughts.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't those thoughts, because there was another level of something happening, and it was just amusement. It was kind of it just became kind of absurd that I was in this weird situation describing this stuff to someone.
I'm getting the image of a kind of friction, and the way that you typically avoid friction is that you go out of body.
Yeah, today I didn't even care about the friction.
Right.
I was just kind of whatever,
And since you were able to detect the thoughts that created the friction and move out of them, that allowed you to begin to accept your reality as it was, not as you thought it should be.
Oh, I see.
And that's really where this is going for you.
That's so interesting.
Because you're there for a reason. You put yourself there in that environment for a particular purpose.
But it wasn't whatever I thought that reason was.
Right.
Even when I thought it was coming from a place of giving and allowing.
Yes.
That is not even the reason I'm there.
Right.
I don't even know why I'm there, but it is amusing.
So you can allow yourself to recognize that even the ego's generated thoughts about allowing can be somewhat of a resistance when you begin to identify that, I'm just allowing this person. You begin to identify and label your experience. We talked about this in a previous recording.
I think I was labeling it. That was a way that my ego was understanding it, because, I don't know, it was an ego reason to being there. And today, it was funny because, I felt myself, I guess allow is the best word, but I felt myself allow myself to get angry at the ridiculousness of it. I was why am I explaining this thing that is impossible to this person? Why is this even a thing that's happening? How did I get here?
Part of, for you particularly, I noticed you have almost an identification, or had up until this day, an identification to where you were in your reality. And you had a labeling of, I am this wonderful spiritual being. So if I'm this wonderful spiritual being, why am I in this mundane situation? And that's really where that was. It was underlying the surface of your experience. And the only way you could really allow yourself to be in those environments up until today was to go out of body, so you weren't really experiencing those thoughts, but then you would be tired.
Oh, I get it. So now I can experience them, I guess.
What you can do now, what's beginning to happen for you, is that you're no longer being the vibration of those thoughts. So you can simply accept what is in front of you with no thought identification to it. No more thoughts of this. Now that you've recognized the absurdity of it, you can be conscious of them if they ever arise again, but you're moving past that now. So now you can actually enjoy the moment with whoever you're with and not identify as, oh, why am I in this mundane work situation? Why am I having to explain something to somebody that doesn't get it? I am more spiritual than this. Those kinds of thoughts.
Well, yeah.
You saw the absurdity of it. You're no longer in friction with it, so you won't be tired from it.
I see. It just becomes hilarious. It became hilarious to be there in the absurdity of it because it was just weird.
Yes. And this is where the absurdity that you're describing, the weirdness that you're describing, is the sensation that your reality is purposeful, but not in the way your ego thought it was. And you're beginning to identify more with the reality being less structured. And so you can be in a place and not have the thought structures. And that actually is incredibly freeing.
I think I like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess I'm still processing it because today, what this means to me in the moment right now is that today I actually, I observed thoughts that seemed pretty charged and ridiculous to me. And that was the first time I'd done that. In a long time in this job.
They were underneath the surface.
Yeah.
For a long time, what I observed from you was that you would come home and we both, I was involved, we would kind of get up in a little bit of drama, we would get involved in a little bit of the drama, we would talk it out.
But even though we were detached from it, we would still feel it, and that was the thing.
To some degree, yes.
Right, and even if the feeling was tiredness.
Yes. Or even when, I would be involved with it too. I'd get kind of charged about certain things. You would see me, if I just could tell them this. Well, maybe, but that doesn't need to hit my emotional body either. And so that's kind of where this is going.
That's interesting because then the ego wants to know what next. And I'm just kind of well, just relax.
I was hearing from my guidance today that the ego cannot know what's going to happen. Yeah. That's not its role.
Yeah.
All it can do is perceive what is happening. It's your higher self. It's your higher knowledge, why you're actually there, the light that you are. That identification, well beyond the ego identification, is why you're there. And as you let go of the thoughts, all of these kind of little bit of subtle judgmental thoughts that became hyper-aware today for you, as you let those go, you have an opportunity now to align to the light that you are and the real reason you're there, which is far beyond the ego thoughts of, why am I dealing with this person?
Yeah.
So that's what you're in the process of engaging with now. Should we call that a recording?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm still processing, but I think it's going to take a while.
It'll take a little bit of time. And this is kind of an integration for you. It's one of your learning lessons that I'm hearing right now, is to allow your reality to be exactly what it is with no identification to it, and allow people to be exactly where they are in vibration and levels of understanding, and allow that to be okay. So
I'm having a weird thought right now, and it's kind of exactly as it is. I don't want to be there. I don't want to,
Those are those thoughts coming up again.
They're the thoughts that have been slightly beneath the surface that are coming up again.
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't want to have to deal with this.
Those are those same thoughts, those same thought structures. You're there.
I'm releasing so much.
I know. You're doing okay. You're doing well.
Okay, we'll stop the recording for a release.
Okay.